This happened to my friend Rachel during a solo backpacking trip in Yosemite National Park back in summer 2019. She was an experienced hiker, had done dozens of trails alone, so when she planned a 3-day trek through the backcountry, nobody was worried. The first day was perfect. She hiked about 8 miles, set up camp near a small creek, made dinner, and settled in for the night. Around 10 p.m., she heard footsteps. Not animal footsteps, human footsteps, walking around her tent in a slow circle. Rachel froze. She called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No response, just the footsteps continuing their circle around her tent. Then they stopped. Complete silence for about 5 minutes. She was too terrified to look outside. Then she heard it. Pause breathing. Right outside her tent wall. Heavy, deliberate breathing. Like someone was standing there just inches away from her, separated only by thin nylon fabric. She grabbed her bear spray, hands shaking, and yelled, "I'm armed. Get away from my camp." The breathing stopped. Footsteps moved away, but slowly. Like whoever it was wasn't scared at all. Rachel didn't sleep that night. She sat up with her headlamp off, bear spray in one hand, knife in the other, listening. Around 3 a.m., she heard the footsteps come back. This time, they didn't circle. They just stopped at the entrance of her tent. Then she heard a voice, a man's voice barely above a whisper. "I know you're awake." Rachel lost it. She screamed, unzipped her tent, and ran into the darkness. She ran for almost an hour, following the trail by moonlight, completely panicked. When dawn broke, she kept hiking until she reached a ranger station. When she reported it, the ranger's face went pale. He told her this was the 3rd report in 2 months of someone stalking solo female hikers in that area. They'd increased patrols, set up trail cameras, but never caught anyone. The ranger showed her photos from the trail cameras. In one of them, taken the night Rachel was there, you could see a figure standing at the edge of the frame, just standing there in the darkness, watching the trail. They never identified who it was. Rachel never went back to Yosemite. And according to online hiking forums, reports of the stalker continued for another year before suddenly stopping. This one still messes with my head. And it happened to me personally. 3 years ago, I went camping with 2 friends, Jake and Morgan, in Great Smoky Mountains National Park. We were experienced campers, knew the area well, had proper gear, all that. We set up camp around 4 p.m. on a Saturday. Beautiful spot, about 2 miles from the nearest trail junction. We made dinner, sat around the fire talking and laughing. Normal camping trip. I checked my watch around 8:30 p.m. because we were debating when to turn in. Then Jake pointed at something in the tree line. "Do you guys see that light?" We all looked. There was a light, maybe 50 yards into the woods, just hovering there, not moving, not like a flashlight beam, more like a sphere of dim orange light. We joked it was probably another camper with a lantern, even though camping wasn't allowed in that area. But then the light started moving, not side to side like someone walking. It moved up, straight up into the trees. Then it stopped, maybe 30 feet off the ground. Morgan said she wanted to leave. Jake and I thought she was overreacting, but honestly, we were all feeling weird. The forest had gone completely silent. No crickets, no owls, nothing. Just this oppressive quiet. I looked at my watch to check the time. It said 8:47 p.m. I remember thinking we'd only been watching the light for a few minutes. Then Jake said, "Guys, where did the fire go?" We looked down. Our campfire was completely out. Not dying embers, not smoking logs, just cold gray ash. Like it had been out for hours. But we'd just been sitting there, hadn't we? Morgan checked her phone. The screen lit up and we all saw it. 3:17 a.m. We'd lost almost 7 hours. None of us remembered anything after seeing that. We all agreed never to talk about it. But sometimes Jake will text me in the middle of the night. "Do you remember what happened during those hours?" I never answer. Because the truth is, sometimes I think I do remember. And what I remember doesn't make any sense. My Uncle David was a park ranger at Yellowstone for 15 years. He retired early, moved to Florida, refuses to talk about why. But one night, after a few drinks, he told me this story, made me promise never to repeat it while he was still alive. He passed away last year, so here it is. This was in 2017, late October. Tourist season was over. Park was mostly empty. David was doing a routine patrol of the Lamar Valley area, checking campsites and trails before winter closure. It was getting dark, temperature dropping fast. He was about to head back to his truck when he heard something, a sound he'd never heard before in 15 years of ranger work. He described it as like a child screaming, but wrong. The pitch was off, the rhythm was off. It sounded almost mechanical. The sound was coming from near the tree line, maybe 100 yards away. David grabbed his flashlight and headed toward it. Standard protocol. Could be someone hurt, lost, in trouble. As he got closer, the screaming got louder, but also weirder. He said it sounded like multiple children screaming at once, but in perfect unison. Then he saw it. His flashlight beam hit something at the edge of the trees. He said it was tall, really tall, maybe 7 or 8 feet. It was standing upright, but the proportions were wrong. Arms too long, legs bent the wrong way. And it was mimicking. That's what the screaming was. It was trying to mimic the sound of children to lure him closer. When David's light hit it, it stopped screaming. Just stopped mid-sound. And it turned to look at him. David said he'll never forget the eyes. They reflected his flashlight like an animal's eyes, but they were too big, too far apart. And they were looking at him with pause. He said it looked like it was studying him, figuring him out. He backed away slowly, hand on his radio. He made it to his truck, jumped in, locked the doors. Through the rear window, he could see it, standing at the tree line, just watching him. He started the engine and drove, didn't stop until he reached the ranger station. When he reported it, his supervisor listened, took notes, didn't act surprised, then told David to file his report as possible bear encounter and to forget the details. David pushed back, said what he saw wasn't a bear. His supervisor looked him in the eye and said, "I know. But that's what you saw. Understand?" David said that over the next few weeks he heard other rangers talking in hushed tones. Apparently there'd been dozens of reports over the years. Things in the woods that don't match any known animal. Disappearances that don't make sense. And the Park Service just documents them quietly and tells rangers to report them as something else. He retired 2 months later, moved as far from any national park as he could. Before he died, he told me, "The parks are beautiful, but they're old, really old. And some things were in those forests long before we showed up. We're just visitors in their home." I haven't been camping since he told me that story.